everybody, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the second book in the Bridge Kingdom, which is the Traitor Queen. I am going to be talking about spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and click off now. I will say spoiler free, I guess. This book is great. It's a really good sequel to the first one. If you're hesitating for some reason after reading the first one, which I don't know how you could possibly have the willpower to hesitate after reading that book, but anyways, if you don't know if this book is good, this is a great sequel. Anyways, spoilers coming up. Alright everybody, so the Traitor Queen. I'm going to go through it kind of like I did the other one where I give you kind of my opinions and also the storyline as we go. So yeah. Basically, the book starts out where the other one left off, which is that Laura is trying to convince Anna, Aaron's sister, that she needs to be a part of his rescue mission. But her attempts to persuade them by showing them her fighting prowess does not go exactly as intended, and she ends up in prison. She does, of course, convince Anna to send her to go rescue Aaron, but first she needs to grab her sisters and call in the favor for saving their lives and get their help, because there's no other way really to break into her father's palace. We're also following Aaron as he is in the palace. He is a prisoner and they are trying to kill off his own people to convince him to tell them how to get into Arenal, which is the volcano fortress that they're all holed up in now that the bridge has been taken. Everybody hates Laura, and understandably so, but you also understand as the reader that she didn't mean for any of this to happen, right? But it kind of shows you how royalty kind of messing around and not paying attention can lead to a ton of regular people dying, you know? And so she's got a lot to make up for. But we also know that, she didn't mean to do it, so everyone's hatred, you feel bad for her, you know? And you understand that she does love Aaron, even though he, told her to go away and whatnot. But we also see a hint that Aaron understands a little bit what happened and sort of believes her. Her father kind of confirms it for him and what happened with her sisters too. And we can tell that he still loves her, because when someone is brought in who's a woman and they're trying to get information out of him, he thinks it's Laura and he's very concerned, and so we know that he still loves her, right deep down. But yeah, she goes to grab her sisters, which is pretty fun. We get to meet them. I could definitely see a lot of potential for this series continuing with each of Laura's sisters. That would go on forever, so maybe just pick one or two. But they're all pretty awesome. Anyways, she has to go get them, and then they plan this rescue mission. It involves a lot of moving parts. So it's going to be hard to describe this one, honestly, because I don't even remember the order that all of these events happened in. Basically, Karis, her older brother, who's actually her full brother, unlike a lot of the people from the harem that her father has, he's got this whole thing going, right? Where there's this other prisoner and he's trying to get her out, and so he's trying to make a deal with Aaron so that when Aaron escapes, he'll take her. Meanwhile, Laura has to try to get him out, and so they pull this whole thing, they sneak in as harem wives, her and some of her sisters, and they rescue them at this dinner, because Aaron's been making deals with various harem wives and her brother, Karis, and all of this stuff has been happening so that they can rescue Aaron. They do, and also Zara, who's this general that Karis wanted them to rescue. And then they pull this daring escape through the city with horses in every direction and all this stuff, and then they leave. And then Laura is going to take Aaron down to Valcata, which is it's a country, south of Meridrina, her father's kingdom, to get some help for his kingdom, which is Ithacana. And so he doesn't really want to go with her, and he doesn't forgive her, and there's still this tension, this romantic tension, because you want them to forgive each other and get back together, you know? And so she has to go with him, though, because she's the only one who's willing to, sacrifice life and limb to help him with this mission. So they go, and their plan is to follow the coast, but her father's men are following them, so they have to go into the desert, which they aren't prepared to do because they don't have water, and there's this big sandstorm, and Laura kind of proves her selflessness, I guess, because that's the problem, is all of these choices that she made, which do end up resulting in bad things for other people, she tried to make selfless choices, putting her country ahead of herself, and then, eventually realizing that she was wrong and trying to put her new country ahead of herself, and now she's trying to put Aaron ahead of herself, and like you see that she is truly trying to be selfless. It's just hard because she also is a survivor. And so you see this moment in the sandstorm where she covers his eyes and she keeps hers open despite it causing a lot of damage, and she finds their compound, which is where she's kind of been heading because she knows that there's water there, and gets them inside. But he's dying because they haven't had water in a long time, so she has to go get water in the middle of a sandstorm for him and strain the water and all this good stuff. And he realizes what's happened once he wakes up later and is shocked that she could accomplish such a thing, first of all. But second of all, realizes that she's not like a horrible monster, and kind of sees where she grew up and sees how awful it is. And we also see that she damaged her eyes, so she's needing this help from him, and they keep going, and they have to get water again at an oasis and some supplies, but she gets captured, and she thinks he's going to leave without her. And you, the reader, kind of like, surely not. Like, I don't think so, because it seems like he came to get her, but you understand why she feels like he's going to leave her there. And when he's like, no, I wouldn't do that, they kiss again, and he realizes it's a mistake, and so does she, because she's planning to leave once she gets him the help that he needs from Valcata. Anyways, they make it there. The Empress refuses to help them, and makes her help contingent on him letting them kill Laura, or him killing Laura, or something like that. And he's like, no, that's not something that I'm willing to do. But mostly because he sees that, well, I mean, first of all, because he's in love with Laura, but also because he sees that the Empress just, like, doesn't want to help them and is holding a grudge for, like, some political stuff. So they go back, and they actually get help from the general's niece, which is Zara, who had already helped them by getting them supplies that they were promised for rescuing her, and whatever. And so then he takes Laura with him back to Ithacana, which is a mistake, in my opinion. Like, it works out, but I was like, you're sacrificing her life, probably, just because you can't let her go. But it's okay, because she's like, no, I'm here to atone, I want to fight, let me fight for you. And so the people, like, tell her all of the things that they've lost, and she feels really responsible, and she kind of is, but, like, kind of isn't at the same time, because you understand how they got to this point, and how you can make the right decisions at every turn, and just, like, keeping some information to yourself results in everything going horribly. Anyway, if they had just communicated better in the first book, none of this would have happened, right? So it's kind of Aaron's fault too, right? Because he didn't tell her that he was sending this letter to her father at all, but, you know, it's fine. Anyway, this battle happens, but it's too easy, right? They leave Laura behind because she's gotten injured. They do it. And he's like, this was a mistake and this can never happen again. But, which I wasn't a huge fan of, because he initiated and she was injured, and I wasn't a fan of that either. So it's like, she's injured and very, like, emotionally attached. Like, she would do anything he said at this point, right? And then he's like, no, this was a terrible idea. Like, we can never see each other again. And then leaves her injured and sad on this island by herself, which I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, buddy, but okay. And so she realizes the battle's over. She's really sad because there's something else she can do. She's walking on the bridge, but then she realizes that the actual attack is going to be focused on the people of the kingdom and Arenal, and that Karis has betrayed them, probably to save Zara. I think they figure out later, but whatever. Anyway, she goes and she's like, I'm going to help you. Help me help you. And Anna, whatever, gets her onto the boat where her father is. She challenges her father, kills her dad. Everything's fine, except that she has to swim through these shark-infested waters with all these other sailors who are being ripped apart by sharks, and get to the gate into the volcano, and then Aaron has to rescue her, and she's, like, basically dead for a bit. And then, you know, she wakes up, and they're like, oh, our actual punishment for traitors is that they get tossed in the water, and if the sharks eat them, then they're a traitor, and if not, then they're not, and no one's ever not been eaten by sharks, but you kind of went through all of the traitor stuff. Oh, and they normally, like, chum the water first, too, so, like, there are sharks, and they dangle you in the water, whatever. She went through that, and so everyone is willing to accept her now, not forgive her, but accept her and let her, like, prove her worth as their queen, and I thought it was a great conclusion, you know, maybe it was a little too neat, but I wanted them to get back together, you know, I really did, and I enjoyed that we had to see them work for that relationship back. I liked that, you know, there had to be a lot of sacrifice and self-sacrifice and willingness to put their country first and everything, but that they were still able to find happiness for themselves, and that everyone was kind of able to see that, like, Laura was put in an impossible place where she had to choose between her family and her country and this new country and everyone, and, like, you understand why it's an impossible choice. And also, she tried to make the right choice, and I don't know, I just think I thought it was really good, you know, I thought it was great, I really enjoyed it, so 5 stars again. I had a blast, you know, it was great. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. Bye.